Welcome back. Now, the Gauteng Provincial Government plans to use a new revenue enhancement strategy to pay the bulk of the 17 billion rand it owes the South African National Roads Agency for its Gauteng Freeway Improvement Project debt and interest following the scrapping of the e-toll system. Now, the Gauteng MEC for Finance and Economic Development, Lebogang Mahile, said last week that the provincial government will pay a 30% portion of SANRAL's GFIP debt and interest obligations, which amounts to 12.9 billion rand, but there has been a minor shift that it will not raise the money to pay this. Of course, big challenges ahead. This announcement, or the pre-announcement of the scrapping of the e-tolls, had come just before the May 29 elections, when Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi said that this is one of the aims he intends on doing should he, of course, come in to power in the richest province in the country. Now, I had asked Wayne Duvenage from the Organization for Undoing Tax Abuse to talk about where the money will be coming from the Gauteng province, and is there a plan from the Gauteng province to go ahead and settle this debt? Here's the conversation.
Activities that they're going to raise funds, but you must remember that Gauteng province only raises about 5% of its income from its own initiatives. The other 95% comes from treasury anyway. So even if they doubled their 8 billion rand that they raised themselves from, licenses, testing centers, and liquor licenses, and casino licenses, and so forth, casino revenue, that's not going to be much. Even if they increase their income by 50%, which I think would be unbelievable, I doubt if they'll get that. That's only 4 billion rand. That doesn't really take care of the problem.
Mr. Duvenage, I'm trying to understand just the thinking with regards to trying to get this revenue, because obviously there's no way the residents of Gauteng are actually going to go ahead and foot the bill, because many of them look at it and say, well, we just didn't want to be part of the e-tolls. And of course, when you look at the promises that were made pre-elections of trying to scrap e-tolls, one, you can argue whether it was an election ploy or not, but how much of the actual shift of responsibility does it now need to move to SANRAL to try and at least assist the Gauteng government with regards to this?
Well, I think it all sits with SANRAL, quite frankly. As we've said, this debt was entered into between SANRAL and the bonds, the auctions that it put out there to raise the funds to build this freeway upgrade, which, by the way, we've said they paid almost 3 times the price. Shouldn't have cost more than about 6 billion. They paid 18 billion as a result of their lack of controls and runaway costs and corruption and so forth. There was a lot of mess there. Imagine if we were only settling 6 billion rand, how quick and easy that would have been. So they borrowed money to pay for the 18 billion rand plus a bit extra. Now that's SANRAL's debt as we're concerned. So here's what our frustration is. We sit here in this province, which is very important for the country. These roads are very important. And now the Gauteng province is having to settle costs related to, for instance, maintenance of over 4 billion rand. But how do you maintain something that's not even on your assets register? It's not your asset. It's a national competence. It's a national asset with SANRAL and Department of Transport. It's got nothing to do with the Gauteng province. So when they spend money, imagine they spend money on KZN's ports infrastructure. Why would they do that? It's not their asset. So with the same question we ask here, why are they contributing to maintenance costs for an asset that's not there to maintain? It really is strange.
Mr. Duvenage, there's no way the Gauteng government can go to National Treasury now. I mean, if we take what Finance Minister Godongwana, who's of course retained his position in that portfolio, speaking about bailouts for practically anything that's government related, it seems as if there's been a bit of a stop with regards to that. And of course, the government of national unity, with the other parties being involved, are probably going to do the same thing in trying to make sure that anything government related which needs bailouts or fundings like this, there's going to be a stop to it. I mean, there's no way National Treasury is really going to step in and say, well, let us try and help the Gauteng government in trying to resolve this debt that they have in terms of it with SANRAL.
Yeah, well, look, it was an agreement between National Treasury and the Gauteng Province and SANRAL / the Department of Transport. Now, you must remember, Gauteng Province gets 166 billion rand a year from National Treasury. 95% of its money comes from them. So we would have thought, well, if this is really an issue, just loan them the 17 billion rand and issue them less a portion for the next 5 years. So let's say it's 3 billion rand a year. You take off the 166 billion, which is less than 2% of their income, while they go and raise other income opportunities as they're talking about. So, you know, the money's coming from National Treasury anyway. And remember, National Treasury gave to SANRAL over the last number of years to offset this imbalance that SANRAL had for not being able to collect e-tolls. They gave them 26 billion rand over a 10-year period from 2013 to 2012 up until now. That's you know, some of the years it was as high as 5 billion rand to offset their financial woes as a result just of the Gauteng Freeway project. Just that. Remember, they get about 15 billion rand from Treasury every year. That is SANRAL. So the money comes from Treasury. SANRAL gets an allocation so that it can manage the roads of this country. And one of them is this Gauteng Freeway project. It also makes its own money on tolling revenues, which is not a big amount, but it's certainly an amount that adds to their coffers.
Mr. Duvenage, thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV. Much appreciated.
Pleasure. All the best.
That's Wayne Duvenage, the CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse. Well, that's all we have for you here on News in Focus. From myself, Faraz Patel, and the rest of the team in Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.